All right, I want to welcome you guys all to the call. This is
The Legacy
Gary,
Retirement Plan
and
is a comprehensive
just one
program.
moment. What I want to do is go ahead and welcome you guys here. I'm going to share with you guys what I feel and what we have discovered as probably one of the longest standing operating blockchain technology communities in the world today. We have a community that's reaching into the hundreds of thousands. We have stories that are reaching back to distributions of payouts into the millions of dollars on individual payouts. We have validation and verification of wallets, which on the blockchain are valid proof, evidence, and verification to justify the facts. And so these are typically those of us in the blockchain industry, blockchain business, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. For many years, we rely upon the blockchain to tell us the facts versus hearsay, accusations, or opinions. And when you look at this particular project, you will see, I will show you guys validation of these wallets that link back many years, but overall, they're tracking daily payouts to customers that own contracts like you. We're going to show you guys a legacy retirement plan that, again, is verified and vetted out and has proven itself to actually live up to these plans and to distribute out these revenues or profits in Bitcoin to members like yourself. And so we'll cover some of that. In the meantime, what I want to do is I want to play this little 2-minute presentation, and then from here we'll go into an overview. This is a 2-minute audio, and then from here we'll go into a little presentation, and hopefully we will be done in maybe 30 minutes or so. We may take some questions along the way. I'm very excited about this business model, and we'll go over that after this video here. Just listen to this for a moment.
Designed to assist individuals with secure transitioning from outdated or vulnerable cryptographic systems to modern, robust encryption technologies on the blockchain. This initiative addresses the critical need for upgrading legacy cryptographic solutions to ensure data security and compliance with evolving industry standards. The retirement plan begins with a thorough assessment of existing cryptographic infrastructure and systems, identifying legacy algorithms, deprecated protocols, and potential security vulnerabilities. This evaluation helps stakeholders understand the risks associated with outdated cryptographic mechanisms and lays the foundation for developing a tailored retirement strategy. What if I told you that for every $100 processing fee, you're entered into a smart contract loan on the blockchain that's insured, and the offshore bank will start you with $30,240 for a 3-year contract and or $43,200 for a 5-year contract. It's staked, and with super compounding, you'll receive, after 3 years, $35,094. After 5 years, $471,487. It's been in operation since 2016 in Europe and fully operational worldwide since October 2020. You have to answer one important question. Do you have an income plan for the next 3 to 10 years? If not, you'll want to consider a legacy wealth plan, the likes of which will have you dreaming again. In fact, many do up to 10 smart contracts. Again, it's only $100 a piece. If you like what you see, you'll want to get in right away because this project will continue to grow and become more popular. In order to register for your wallet that handles all interest and calculations, you'll only need an email address and to create your password. This is passive and massive income. Referring is optional. To refer others, you'll need at least one active contract. This is not to be shared publicly. No screenshots on social media. Anonymity is the key to our success. Only share this with people you know and care about, such as family, friends, and coworkers. For more detailed information or to register, please get back with the person that shared this amazing.
I want to go back here and show you guys opportunities here that if you heard that message, what you're going to see is this. It said it's passive and massive. And that's a little 2-minute overview that kind of gives you a synopsis of this legacy wealth solution. Some of you on the call are a part of this particular community and this solution to create more wealth for yourself and for your family. what's exciting about it is that it's very affordable. We're going to talk about the affordability. It's really not an investment. We may talk about numbers. I do want everyone to understand that, as a disclaimer and these types of things, I am, when you look at talking to people, one, I don't claim to be any, investment broker, and licensed agent for any investment firm. I take charge of my own portfolio. We may educate people in certain areas to help them understand where the future of the financial is in the cryptocurrency industry. What we're going to talk about again is that you make decisions for your own family and take responsibility for those decisions. And of course, when you look at the success track record of this project, again, since 2016, it's been quite amazing to go through this journey to learn about them. But under this legacy wealth, we call this Cryptex. It's a $100 financial solution. I want you to think about that for a minute. Just a $100 solution to begin towards an earlier retirement, to help give people hope, to give people an opportunity to really get out from under the burden of a job. Maybe they want to retire earlier. This project can actually help you do those things, but you have to understand how it works. You're going to learn some key benefits. So imagine this: for $100, you get a benefit of a balance of $30,240 to $43,200 for a $100 activation fee. I want to pose a thought to you. If you wanted to go to your local bank and ask for $30,000 to $43,000, what would they ask you for? They would probably ask you for a social security number. Maybe, do you have a job? What's your credit score? Do you have any collateral? And then they would figure out a balance of a payment that you'd have to owe that back if you qualified and you could afford to pay it back each month. In this particular project, we're not going to ask you for your social. We're not going to ask you for your collateral. We're not going to ask for EIN. We're not going to ask you for a credit check. You pay that $100 activation fee, and it will release to you $30,240 to $43,200 based on which contract you choose. And if you go to a bank, you're going to find out these banks offer you certificates of deposits, money markets. There are trillions of dollars in those markets right now. And now you have an opportunity to not have to put that money up. And in most of those CDs, you have to give the bank the money. They'll give you a slightly higher yield, and you have to commit to a 3, a 5, a 7, or a 10-year plan to hold and lock that money up. So when I talk about staking money here or staking funds, that means you just are agreeing to hold it. And so we're going to talk about how you can obtain great potential wealth with borrowed money that has a system to pay the interest back, to also have insurance coverage that also is paid for by the profits of the account. Your commitment is the $100. And in the end, you share in the profits on a daily basis of it being staked on the blockchain. So we'll cover some of this in this presentation, but to understand the basics is that you can literally borrow up to $3 million plus in this project without an investment, without collateral, without a social security number, without an EIN number, and without having to be obligated to pay the monthly fee and premium on insurance, and let the model itself pay for all of it internally. And you reap the benefit of the extra profits. This is powerful. So now when you look at being able to do this, again, here's a disclaimer. When you hear in this presentation, I'm not giving financial advice. It's present information for you, but everything is associated with risk, even a job. Never risk more than you can afford to lose. There are no guarantees of income, but you are responsible for your own decisions and the transactions. Income examples here are estimates of what you may earn. Now I'm going to show you some evidence, validation, and also literally live transactions, okay, that are taking place today and each day that will actually give you more to consider. But what is Cryptex? It is a community-based project. Operations are anonymous. The CEO and the company are anonymous. There is no CEO, there is no company. It's a decentralized financial project, the way DeFi was intended to be. But DeFi staking's protocol is simply that decentralized finance. Cryptix maintains partnerships with banks, insurance companies, and individual account holders like yourself, working uniformly to generate these profits for all the parties. Again, since 2016, I think we're nearing past 500,000. We're probably closer to 6, 7, or even 800,000 worldwide. People own these contracts, and the reason why is the people are being paid out on these contracts, and the word is traveling very rapidly because people are being paid literally millions of dollars on their contracts. Again, this is what's required in the contract. It's you, which is a registered a member, which is providing an email and then a password that you have to secure your account. And also, you're going to get a wallet ID number that's specific to you. The account holder is, again, going to simply register, but they don't need, you don't need like a social and EIN number. But the contracts you'll see are going to be self-evident within the system once you register. Insurance company and banks, you'll be able to see that the insurance is actually paid monthly, and the banks actually get paid annually on their interest. Again, serviced from the account and from the account profits from the borrowed funds, which take place within seconds of it being a blockchain technology. So here are some of the basics. DeFi, of course, what's DeFi? I'm just going to simplify it. It is simply agreeing to hold on and lock that capital up for a certain period of time, and you earn your percentage of profits or interest, if you will. And in this particular case, it's very conservative, can be anywhere from 0.0011 to, all the way up, but typically roughly, I would say 2.5%, 3% a month. But the benefit of it is that it micro compounds, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. But the micro compounding is where it's very powerful. The assets in itself, but under the contractual agreement, you're going to see that every contract's going to have its own unique contract code and timestamped. Everything is timestamped here. So the sooner you start, the sooner that hour and minute begins for you to create that wealth journey, if you will, on a very, very system. But the account holder, to participate, you have to agree that you're willing to put up a $100 activation fee. Almost anyone in the world can accomplish this with a little bit of desire. And you can secure either a 3, 5, or 7-year DeFi staking hybrid contract. What does this mean, hybrid? It means they've tied together the blockchain technology with banking and finance and insurance in the traditional world and brought them together. And it's created an amazing model. And within this period of time, if you choose a 3-year contract, you're going to free up $30,240 that does get deposited to your account. And you will stake it. That's your option. And that's why the equity or the bank is willing to do that, because it's secured and safe. And then they know an insurance company is backing it up. And then you've got $43,200 for either a 5 or a 7-year contract. So you can choose any combination, as many as you like, up to about 80 maximum. But these are the starting balances that begin to compound over the length and the term of those contracts. Now, the objection for most people is, well, 3 years seems like a long time. Every single one of you are aiming to retire at one point or another. And whether you decide to have this as part of your portfolio is up to you. But again, everyone is going to get started just like when they started to buy through IRAs, 401ks. You're contributing every week to your 401ks every week if you have a job. And at the end of the day, this can help fuel it and help diversify you for as little as $100. And we'll talk about the payouts on some of these after that term. And again, this is in Bitcoin. one of the most recognized, fastest growing assets in the world, recognized globally today. And at the end of the day, it works on the blockchain, one of the most sophisticated technologies that we've ever seen, that's trusted, reliable, and in fact cannot be manipulated, nor cheated, nor lied. Tells the story and the facts, and that's why it's so powerful, because it's a ledger of transactions that cannot be disputed and nor argued about. It's their facts. You don't need anyone else, just yourself, to understand it. The insurance company, very basic. Each month we will pay an insurance premium, and it is automatically deducted from the profits of your account. And you don't even need to push a button. You don't need to be notified. You don't need to be sent a bill. It's automatic. Okay. And that will be per contract. So the insurance company makes a great deal of money for being in this participation of this model. Again, the bank, the partner banks that work, that provide this capital, they're doing it under these terms, and they will get paid interest on an annual basis. And at the end of the year, that whole interest is paid for, again, from the profits of the loaned money in the relationship to you as the contract holder. And so the annual interest from that staking profits without interruption for the entire term of that contract. Again, you won't be billed. You won't be sent a notice. You won't be sent a knowledge that you're late. No, it's going to always take care of it because of the automation within the system. And this is what makes it so wonderful for everybody. And again, what does this mean? These components, the profits can be generated. And when you add the compounding onto it, it takes the contract to a whole new level. I'll tell you that. It's a power of compounding, and it's very, very powerful. And so I'll give you an example of this. Is just, again, an example, but someone takes out a contract, they pay that application fee of $100. It's paid in, obviously, Bitcoin, and Bitcoin comes out. But in this particular example, you got $30,240 if you chose a 3-year contract. So in that model, you're going to pay $210 per month on the insurance premium. Again, not from your pocket, only from the profits of the account. $30 a month handling fee, again, from profits. We're going to commit to a 6.7% fee per year. And the staking rewards that you receive are paid daily. This is what makes it so nice. And again, the contract fee was only $100, and the deposit is with cryptocurrency. Now, and you look at this, at the end of the 3-year term, it will pay off. It's going to service the loan. It's going to service the insurance. And in the end, it's going to pay off the loan at the end of that time frame, just like a CD at the bank. If the deadline is on a certain date, well, you can come and withdraw that money out. The same thing applies here. When you get on board here, you're going to have a clock and a timestamp in your contracts that when they pay out. And when this one pays out, after it pays everything off, a 3-year, one single contract will net out $35,097. Okay, so that's pretty powerful. And again, you can have more than one. But again, for people just to get started, it makes good sense to get their foot in the door and this. But if you understand the knowledge that we have, the experience that we've had, most people will do their very best to accumulate all the way up to the 80 contracts, even if it takes them a year to do so. Contract expectations on a 5-year contract. This is where the leverage of compounding really play a big role. Certainly an extra 10,000 also helps, but you're talking about at the end of a 5-year period under contract, $471,487. Now, what did you have to invest in this? Nothing. What did you have to do to get started? You had to agree to a $100 application fee, a contract fee, $100. And so the company doesn't necessarily need that $100. That's their marketing dollars for the community. And so that's how, instead of advertising like traditional banks do, this is a private DeFi project, goes out to the community in word of mouth, and you actually participate in that $100 in the community. And so again, 471,000. Again, somebody could have up to 80 of these contracts. You can do the math on that, and any combination of these contracts. Now you can see the substantial payout. We bypassed the 7-year contract. It pays well over 1.5 million. And so you have access to those contracts as well. they are working on potentially adding even 10-year contracts. And so when you think of the younger generation, our children, grandchildren, etc., we have an opportunity to help these family members also participate in their legacy through these contracts as well. So you can see there's substantial payout in the difference between a 36 and a 60 month. But again, the time stamps the moment that you begin, and the time clock is counting down for you. But each one of these is going to obviously pay an average between 0.1% to 0.3%. Very doable. And again, all for the same $100 activation fee. And then here's another thing is that you're not limited to that one contract. We could have up to 80 of these contracts. We do have a special package that does allow you to get up to 15 free contracts by this promo, which I will share with you here in a moment. And I want to show you some examples where the blockchain is powerful enough to allow you to go get evidence on the distributions that members are earning, just like you. You starting today, you started a month ago. This is going to be you in the near future, because this is happening for members today that were in the same position you are today. They just got in, and now the 3 years, the 5 years, and for many of them, the 7 years is now up, and they are being compensated on these contract payouts. And this is a contract that was started in 2019, and for this person, it paid out in 22. That was nearly 2 years ago, and they received $97,000 for their contracts. Okay, and it was, again, we track the wallets down, you track the hash code. This all gets shown on the blockchain. Here's another example of some withdrawal of funds as well. And you'll see here, these are activity taking place. Here's a 100,580. This is 112, 100,000. These are typical for this community. And if I'll show you that are much than this. And with that being said, it's not the traditional DeFi project. People are putting in $50 or $100 and then, pulling out $100 or $200. This is hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars type of contracts. And so when you look at this particular one, this is actually a contract that was fairly recent. I was involved with this one, and part of this transaction to validate this transaction early, as well, to prove out this business model and this DeFi contract community were legitimate and valid. And so this was actually a communication from the Cryptex community to the member. And the bottom line was, it was sharing with him that his balance that was deposited was $501,000. And it showed that they were actually being paid on contracts, two contracts at that time. And his balance on the booked balance was over 398. And this is actually a transaction that we actually documented and recorded, and we actually put it on a website for anyone to see for themselves. Prove out that real people who started these contracts were being paid. And the nice thing is that this is part of the back office that showed him. And then over here is actually his deposit from the contracts paying him. Those funds are available to him here. And then withdrawing these funds through this button called withdrawal button, and them showing up in his own personal controllable wallet. And at that time, arrived in his own wallet after withdrawing all of this. And then, of course, you can see here he was netted out 10.597 Bitcoin. How many of you guys on here would like to receive a payment of 10.57 or 9 Bitcoin today? If you've studied the prices today, it's pretty amazing. We have actually access to getting more access to more withdrawals, but I'll just show you the blockchain in real time. This is a wallet up here, guys. This is a wallet because there's so much skepticism in this industry, and there's so many companies out there that have taken advantage of you, scam companies, rug pull companies. Here, you guys can make up for your losses and focus on something legitimate, and one that you're not necessarily risking your 10, your 50, your $100,000 into some of these other trading opportunities that are presented to you that over time you will only decide and know whether they actually work long term. This project, my friends, has an 8-year track record. We've been able to backtrack even ourselves over 5 years back. And most projects, you can't backtrack more than a year. So the validity on this project is very, very high. And with that, also the proof is undisputable. And again, this is why this presentation is so loaded up with transactions that have been copied, first backtracked. And you can see here on this wallet here, you'll see that there was $133 billion at this time transacted through this wallet. This was also transactions where it added up to 266 billion right here. Total received, but then through the transactions back and forth, 266 billion. That's a lot of activity. At that time, it was 110,000 transactions. This since then is approximately almost doubled since this moment of this piece right here. New blockchain here. Again, you can see this wallet had about 50, looks like 49,779,779,000. There's opportunities that you'll start to see. Yeah, see right here, 49.7 billion. So this is a big enterprise. And what is that money doing? It's going on the blockchain and being staked as well and utilized with exchange companies like Binance. And most of you probably know, you're not new to this industry, but if you are new, you can actually stake money on these exchangers and make more money than the pay you, many times more. Okay, and so the same thing applies here, and the leverage is pretty amazing. When you look at this blockchain confirmation, these are actual payouts to actual members like yourself who agreed to buy these contracts. Their terms came up and they got paid out on it. Here's someone, they got 43 Bitcoin, 43.1 Bitcoin. And again, this is 2 away. You can see every single one of these are all in the millions. Here's one for 5 million, 2 million, 549,000. Here's one for $10 million, 161 Bitcoin. If any one of you guys would, put your hand up if you'd like a transfer of 161 Bitcoin. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're in the very project that can actually do that for you. Just having a little bit of understanding and fact finding here, you'll find out that you are in the right place or you found the right place. But putting it all together, you have account holders, you can get a contract, $100. Bank provides you the capital for you to stake that capital. That capital will actually compound. That capital is actually insured. And at the same time, you will earn profits on a daily basis, and your account will show all the details of this every day. The account holder only takes care of the $100. That's your commitment. And then the rest is all taken care of in automation. And I'll probably ask a couple of you guys that maybe have been here for, a few months or so. Maybe you guys can give your thoughts on how automated it's been for you. But the Cryptex contracts, are available to you in these DeFi Hybrid 36 is one for $100. We also then have the DeFi Hybrid 36 pack. What does that mean? This literally means for $1,000, which is like buying 10 contracts, you actually will get 15. So you take advantage of that. That's 5 free contracts, and that's a savings of $500 in fees. But most importantly, it adds to your account. That's the difference. Somewhere in that ballpark. It's not exact, but somewhere you take 30,240 multiplied by 5. And that's going to be at your account as a bonus. You can have 3 of these packs or deposit $3,000 to get 45 contracts. Now you do the math, 45 that pays out $35,097 times 45 is what you get for that $3,000 fee. Now, again, you can purchase these. We have no idea how long this promo will last. We just know it's available right now. This DeFi Hybrid 60, that means 5-year contract, Remember, this pays out 471,000. And so we always encourage some of our family, friends, and associates to always add some of these if they get to it as well. And also you have the 7-year month. This is a very lucrative one. This is reaching well over 1.5 million. Yeah, seems like a ways. Believe me, the best time to start is today, so that clock counts. So as the 3-year pays off, you got 2 years on the 5-year, but you're probably going to buy more 3-year when the 3-year are over, and then they're going to pay in between the 5 and the 7-year, and then of course then the 7-year comes due as well. And so it becomes a legacy for you. Under our special package, which I kind of gave away a minute ago, which is again, you can have 3 of these maximum. There are limits to how many contracts we can have. And this is, obviously they're lending out up to 3 million plus to each of you as a free will to choose how many of these contracts you want. You're under no time limit. You could again start with 1, take advantage of it and work your way up. But these 3 packages, a lot of folks take advantage of this because that's 15 free contracts that you get through this promotion here. And so with that, I'll give you some things here need a little updating, but not too much. But again, overview on this primary benefits. It's passive. It's passive and massive. Okay. You get to generate interest from the staking 24/7, 365. The blockchain never sleeps, guys. It works 24/7. And so does the payouts for you. No personal capital is needed. Fixed starting capital from the bank is between 30,240 to 43,200, again, per contract. Now, affordable, it's a $100 activation fee, and you have your option to do any combination of the 3, 5, and 7-year contracts. And again, 80 contracts allowed. Some of you guys are folks on here that have picked up all 80 contracts in the same day. And again, over 500,000 customers worldwide. Withdrawals are in Bitcoin. Expect when you do a withdrawal, there are fees associated with that. Okay, 8-year project in the interim where we stand today. Total anonymity. Understand the importance of that. Think about that for a minute. Privacy is yours. A lot of the folks in Cryptex want to remain anonymous, want to remain private, and especially when they're paid out millions of dollars in Bitcoin, they don't want other people to even know about it. Okay, you'll probably fit in that same shoe down the road when you're put in that position. The capital is insured, no fund, optional builder plan. It is totally an option. If you want to share this with friends and family and associates, you can obviously do so. You don't have to, though. It's optional. But there's also a very, very profitable opportunity for those that do. Instant commissionable payouts, special contract package. Again, that's that 5 contracts for free. Legacy with Cryptex has a referral model. I'll just briefly touch on this a little bit. If you decide to share a contract with someone, there is a direct commission, and it comes from that $100. Again, remember, this $100 isn't what you're investing. The $100 triggers the release of the capital to go into your account. And the $100 is used as the marketing to help compensate the people that are working to introduce. So, for example, banks pay employees. In this community, they pay you to introduce contracts. And okay, the more contracts, the more money we get from the banks. The more money we get from the banks within the community. So we want that capital from the banks. You understand? We want that. So there's probably, I'd say, 10% of the community that are the folks responsible for bringing folks like you to these calls, or folks to introduce it to them. And it might be just your friends and family. Personally, most of us that understand the model, we have our families involved. Why? We care about them. We love them. We want them to do well too. We want them earning Bitcoin as well. So under the daily profit sharing, those are also, you will earn a percentage. I want you to think about that. When they earn on their contracts, and that person earns, that 35,000, that 471,000, you're going to get an additional override on that as well. That's pretty powerful. And then for those of you that are leaders and see yourself wanting to do this spare time or consistently on a part-time basis, you can reach a leader reward side of this, and it pays some additional revenues. But you look at this model, very basically on the direct side, it'll pay down 10 tiers. Don't think of nothing big about this. This is just, if you shared this with your brother and he shared it with his best friend, those contracts are coming in. They're doing it for their own personal contracts. And then of that $100, there's a percentage. So this person would get $30 who made that referral and $5 here, etc. Okay. Now on the back side, that's where it gets a little more exciting, because the person you shared it with, if they go out and they earn $2 million on their contracts, you're going to earn 8% of that. Now, again, you get paid that 8% when the contracts expire and they're deposited, and it just simply gets deposited into your account. Okay. And then this pays down 20 tiers. And most people will never reach these 20 tiers, not necessary, but for some people who do, maybe over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, this will all happen in a very big way. Okay. So again, leaders, those of you that are leaders, more serious players, you're going to get bonuses when you achieve them. It's simple as that. Direct commissions. This is an example. When someone makes a sale, let's say they sold 20 contracts, that means maybe they promos. Somebody bought the 30 contracts because they paid for 20, got 10 for free. You get paid on the 20, $2,000. You're going to get $600. Not a bad deal to help someone take advantage of that promo pack. That promo pack is 15 contracts, and it pays $526,000 and some odd dollars based on a $1,000 and 10 contract commitment. So it's pretty powerful. And then, of course, that'll get added to your back office as a deposit in Bitcoin, and it is withdrawable the same moment. Or you can use it to buy more contracts. Either way. Again, when it comes to the back end, you'll get paid on the back end of that contract as well. And this will give you an example. This is what really happens for people. Contract that pays out, what happens is it'll track, if you can see right here, this particular member here received $584,000 and $854 from the reward program from his customers' contracts paying them. You see that? So this also had contracts that were terminated, 4 contracts that paid him $316,000. His reward referral staking, $289,000. His leader reward, $912,000, and his referral was at that $584,000, or a total here of actually $2.1 million. That's from him. This is an example of someone who actually shares the contracts, had it expired, his contracts paid, their contracts expired, and he was paid again. Okay, pretty powerful. And we couldn't. This didn't occur. Just so you're aware. Okay. At the end of the day, under these structures, again, they just reiterate that same thing. Leader bonuses. If you reach this level. And I think we have even someone on here that's already reached that leader bonus as well. And I think maybe I'll introduce you, but at the end of the day, he's been in less than 6 or 7 weeks and he's hit this leader reward. At the end of the day, when someone first hits that leader reward, you will get a $5,000 bonus and it'll be added to your account. And under the model, we also have access to helping people with some marketing, etc. Bottom line is, we also going to have more webinars. This webinar is very rare. This is probably my second, maybe my third in over a year. So that's how private this one is. Q&A, most common asked questions. Can I withdraw anytime during the staking term? Profits are locked for the term. Generated profits from staked income is available for withdrawal when the contract reaches completion. So if you actually own a 3-year contract, you just let that term expire and it'll pay out at that ending time. Now, if you are an affiliate and you share this contract, those particular dollars are going to be freed up for you. If you sold one of those promo packs If you sold one, you're going to make $300. You can withdraw that right away. Under where does the money come from? The bank loans the starting balance to the DeFi staking contract. Remember, I want you guys to think about this for a minute. Bank loans this community money. They have the blockchain safety, they have insurance, and they have an assurance and a guarantee to be paid their interest without relying on you. 100% success ratio. Now imagine this. What if 500,000 people went out to regular banks today, went to the bank today and said, hey, I want a $30,000 loan? How many people in the real world would default on that loan over a 3-year period and have a perfect track record of 500,000 people who borrowed $30,000, let alone 3 million? How many would default? And if you got the right answer, you'd have thousands upon thousands defaulting in the traditional banking system. And here in the DeFi, 0 defaults. Now you can understand why the bank would want to participate with this community, because of the safety, the security, the automation, and the ability of never having to ask you to collect and never send you a late payment or an invoice or a collection letter or report you to the credit bureaus. Not necessary here. So you see the difference there, I hope. And under the DeFi protocols, you get to earn through the lending. That leverage is so powerful, but the staking pool is locked. And because you lock it, it'll commit to a specific higher percentage of yield or profit. Fees are gained during that lockup period, and in turn can be allocated to daily profits in your account. And so that's what's powerful. All that be registered in your back office as well. It'll also track consistently the last 15 days of your profits on record for you in your system. Why would Cryptex only charge $100 per contract? Why? Think about this for a minute. All parties involved, the bank, you, the community, the insurance company, account holder, and substantial profits on each and every contract purchase. But a handling fee is all that's required from the account holder, because the bank earns, right here, 6.75% a year under a system that never fails and has not failed in 8 years. Variable interest rates on each and every 36-month contract, and 5.5% interest on the 5-year contracts as well as the 7-year contracts. The insurance company, do the math on this, $210 a month on a 3-year contract and a $300 a month contract. So if you're someone that has 80 contracts, what's 80 times 300? Someone could do the math on that, and you can see why the insurance company will support this as well. It's staggering. And then realize that money's not coming from your pocket, but from the leverage of that capital. And that's pretty powerful. So how can Cryptex pay out above? First of all, on the Cryptex earns a 36-month, $30. The total is $1,080. 60-month contract, 30. This is the fees, if you will. Okay, so they're also earning this $1,800. This is the Cryptex community getting this money. This is the insurance getting this money, and then the banks are earning this money right here. Okay, and $11,800 a year times 5. And with a perfect track record, the banks are going to continue to release this capital to new members and to new contract holders that want to continue to get these contracts. Imagine you have 15 contracts. Insurance company alone in the 36 will earn $113,400. Very lucrative, you understand? So that's why they participate. Can I sign up my family? Yes, you can, but you may not place referrals under family members, and under family members, don't stack any members. It's not worth losing your account, folks. Just don't do it. Family members must be placed under your personal referral link. Keep it simple, and just honor the system. Trust me, it's worth it if you just follow that rule. They need to register their own email address and Bitcoin wallet address when they're getting paid, but you can build your own team, your own account. It's strictly enforced So please do not take a chance in which you can lose your account being caught what they call stacking. That means you sign up your wife signs up your daughter signs up your brother signs up your, all in one line. Okay, don't do that. Can I refer and earn commissions without my own contract? The answer is no. You must own at least one contract, and you're going to want to own your own contract. How long does it take to receive my withdrawal? After requesting withdrawal, it may take up to 72 hours. You will get a confirmation email, and from that, you'll reply a yes back, and usually after that, another 12 to 72 hours. Never seen that. It's always worked. And they manually do these manual payouts that way to oversee based on level of security. When trying to log in, why do I sometimes get a message that I'm still logged in? That's because you didn't log out the last session. It's very important in this account that you log and sign out every single time. If you do not, you're going to get that message that you're logged in on another device, and you must wait 30 to 40 minutes. It's always best to clear the cache if you get caught doing that, or if it does that. The website say contracts are sold out. Those contracts they're referring to are sold out, but they have new 3-year contracts and they're not sold out. And the current website's no longer being updated since they're working on a new website and a new back office, and it's very advanced and time consuming of what they're doing. But most importantly, they're managing the servers and all of the blockchain technologies and all the contracts that we host and have today. But this is when Cryptex was brought online, 2016, website registered 2021. How is Cryptex legitimate if we don't know? I'm gonna cover this. How many of you guys know how many people are behind the Federal Reserve? Trillions of dollars. All of you probably on this call have sent money to the United States Treasury through a collection of the IRS, and you don't even know who the owners are of the Federal Reserve. And you've lived here your whole life, and you still donate money to them every day. So again, having this privacy means longevity. And that's why the Federal Reserve System has made it this far. Otherwise, most likely, in my opinion, they wouldn't be here. So the blockchain transparency on every single transaction. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump over here and show you guys some things really quick and see if I can help you guys just understand a few things. And I want to show you this really quick. I'm going to go over here and see if I can get here. And what I want to show you guys is, for some of you, I'm going to show you a blockchain wallet. And this was one backtracked. I backtracked this wallet here. This is a wallet. And what I want you to see is this is a wallet. Okay. And this payout wallet has now done 25,000. This particular wallet mainly services payouts on the contracts. And as you can see, over the last 7 years, there's going to be members almost daily. And specifically, why you take hundreds of thousands of members with dozens and dozens of contracts. They're going to have per member. And so multiply that 500,000 times, what if it was times 10? That's 5 million contracts that need to be paid out on. So you're going to see contracts being paid out on a daily basis. But with this one being said, roughly, looks like almost 116 billion dollars run through this account. But what happens is, this is the summary of the account of that wallet, tells you exactly what's going on, tells you what's moved through the account, and that you can see there's no balance in it right now because it's a payout wallet. Okay. And they also have dozens, if not hundreds of wallets. But if you look at today's date, you're going to see transactions right here. Let me show you. This is a ledger. This would be like if you gave me your bank statement for the month, all the transactions you did for the month. This is exactly what this is, a bank statement. It's on the ledger. It's transparent on the blockchain. And I now have the account, and I'm now looking at that account, and I'm looking at all the ins and outs of this transaction. And you can see that what's underway is transactions. This one's just paid out someone 1.98 million. Again, you can't dispute these. Okay, this is a fact. 18 million out 20 million out, 454,000, 3.8 million. These are separate members, separate contracts getting paid. 902. Show me a membership anywhere in the industry where members are receiving these kinds of payouts. What makes this so worthwhile is that it is serious life-changing income streams and payouts for your contracts. 3.6 million, 978, 459,000. So they're across the board based on whether they're 3-year contracts, how many of those 3-year contracts, any 5-year contracts, a combination of 3 and 5, 7s, whatever the timestamps are, is when they pay out. And so that's how powerful this is. And you can go down here and go to the next page as well and go to the next day, or you can see how many are on this payout for today. Here's one for 124,000, 13 million, 8 million, 3 million. You know, these are guys that are 7-year guys right here. Big dollars paying out. So again, when you realize this, it gets very powerful. So with that being said, does anyone have, I could open this up, and what I want to do is hopefully is Francine, can you unmute your line, Francine, by chance? Are you online, Francine?
Yes.
Francine.
Yes.
Hey, I want to just ask you a couple questions on about Cryptex right here, this project. When you got shown this project, now, would you mind telling folks what your age is? Are you retired?
Unfortunately, no. 75.
You're 75, and you've probably been into Cryptex about I think you started about 5 months ago, right?
July the 5th, correct.
That's right. Do you think Cryptex has made an impact on your life?
Absolutely. I've got the 80 contracts. I started off, I think I did a buy 10 get 5 free.
Yes.
And I worked to get part of by and doing some other stuff to get the money.
That's right. And then have you noticed that when you look at your contracts in the back office, they're constantly paying? I think, I mean, you know, as a disclaimer, of course, the fact is that you're literally earning thousands per day on your contracts alone.
That's correct.
It's pretty amazing. And then you've shared this with some really good people that have had the experience in the blockchain, have looked at it for themselves, based their own opinions on things, and at the end of the day, enjoy the project, even if it's part-time, spare time, or for some people, they could do this full time. Right. But what would you share about, what would be your comments with someone looking at Cryptex for the first time, even if they were skeptical?
Well, you can start off dollars, and then you can see it going up all the time. And you can speak to people like Frank or yourself, Gary, that know the industry and know what's there and actually did their research and, you know, got programmers of that and went back and checked everything. And for me, my first reaction was, you know, because I got some health issues and I'm working on it as well, you know, I may not be around in 3 years. And then I said to myself, if I'm making that kind of money, I'm going to darn well be around to enjoy it. And it's given me hope and excitement, and I love it.
Yeah, it's like it's a grandiose, an additional hope of realizing I'm going to retire wealthy, you know, and I'm going to enjoy this money, you know. So fantastic. But thank you, Francine. And then Frank, are you online by chance? I don't know.
Yes, I am, Gary.
Well, Frank, I know that when we first met, you know, in discussing questions about what you had about this, you know, main thing for you was, you know, give me the wallets. Give me the wallets, because you understood that the wallets tell a story and tell the facts without it being and it tells you the facts about what's going on with this community. So, and you've only been in this thing not even 6 weeks, 7 weeks. I mean, I don't know, somewhere in that ballpark, right? And but you didn't waste no time. You just dug right into the project. You wanted to validate it, verify it, see if it was. But the most important I can say is, but what would you share with folks looking at it for the first time, and then your discovery going through the wallets and things of that nature that gave you extra confidence?
Well, first of all, I had to, like you said, Gary, I had to check the wallets, and I made sure they were legit. But that still wasn't good enough. I asked you for your wallets, but then I confirmed it when I had my first person actually pay into it then I could actually trace the wallet, and there was $51 million in that particular wallet. So that took me over the top. And folks, I did not get excited 100% until I saw the wallets, that was shared with me by Gary. But I had to go one step further. No offense, I'm going to put my
Sure.
name on it. I've been in the industry. I wanted to make sure that there was payments coming in. I mean, of course, there's some uncertainties with the banks and the insurance, but there is with everything. And that's all I had to see is when my person actually paid into it, and I saw that it went to a $51 million wallet, and there was several payments going into it. I said, okay, this totally makes sense. And then, of course, with all the other verifications and testimonials, that just kind of put the icing on the cake. So, folks, all I can tell you right now, when it comes to crypto and staking, there is a lot of profits, a lot of money being made. And it's not, a lot of folks think, oh, this is too good to be true. You know what? In the crypto world, there's times that people are making 400% a month and even days. So it is very lucrative. You just need to understand that. This is a DeFi system that is actually generating staking profits on a regular basis. And when you add the compound, to it with an insurance and a bank, I thought, oh man, you know what? This is good for me. And within actually, like Gary said, it did not take me very long. It was no longer than about 25 days I got there, but I worked real hard at it. But I have a little bit of advantage because my expertise in crypto, so I have a bunch of followers. But by far, this has been one of the most, and especially when it's been around since 2016, a website since 2021. That's a lot of, I also did
History.
a lot of history, and when you have that kind of history behind it, that was enough for me. I tell people, Gary, if you don't mind me sharing with me, I tell people, look, would you to risk 1,000 to generate, some lucrative stuff and get a loan for $453,000? And they're not asking for your firstborn. They're not asking for anything. People say, is it, what's the proof they're going to be around? I said, are you kidding me? They're the ones that are loaning you the money. You're just activating the account. They don't want to know who you are. So you got to decide whether it's the risk reward is yours. It's good enough for you. And you know what?
Yes.
For most people, it was the risk reward was good for them, and that was about it. So thanks for having me on here, and thanks for doing the call.
Yes, and on hitting your leader levels. That's amazing. You did in such a short time, like a record. So good job. And but that's what happens when you got and belief in something and have some faith and hope in the future of what this is going to provide, especially based on evidence and facts and reality that members are already experiencing what you're expecting in the near future. So Sharon, are you online, Sharon? Can you unmute, Sharon?
Yes, I am, Gary.
Awesome, Sharon. You're a wonderful lady and hard worker. And I know obviously the success that Cryptex can provide for so many people. And what's one of the things I tell people? What's one thing I tell you about Cryptex is just even if you're working it or sharing it, even spare time or part time, right? And but what would you have to share about Cryptex and seeing the earnings and what's happening with your accounts and your contracts and usually I'll add this, folks, is usually when you look at a DeFi project or a crypto project and they're all excited when they first launch, and what happens is all of us that have been in this space for 5-10 years or more, we've seen it all and we've heard it all, we've experienced all of it, and we've seen the highs, the lows, and in betweens, some that take a lot of management, some that take a lot of extra time to oversee, some that are complicated, too complicated, where it's not feasible for the masses. And Cryptex, it solves all of that in between and all the ups and downs and the frustration part of, will this company survive? How long they last, those types of things, because any company will go through their ups and downs and challenges and creating solutions as well. And Cryptex is so automated, so autopilot, that you can literally buy a contract and 3 years later come back and withdraw your capital. And it's so self-sufficient. But Sharon, what would you share from your perspective and where you're going to go with this in the future?
Hi, everyone. I know Gary for a few years now, and I made a grave mistake that I don't want any one of you to make. So I joined Cryptex, and I didn't tell Gary anything about Cryptex for a few months because I'm saying to myself, oh, Gary's not going to be interested in Cryptex. A few months after, I called Gary. He said, Sharon, do you know about Cryptex? I said, Gary, I'm in Cryptex.
Yes.
And so I was so sorry that I didn't tell him about it, because I come to my own, make my own judgment, come to my own conclusion that he was not going to join. Let me tell you, whoever you see come across your path, tell them about Cryptex. And I am watching my money grow every day in my back office. And I'm telling you, and Gary called me all the time. He said, Sharon, what are you doing about Cryptex? I said, oh, Gary, I'm trying to invite some people. Gary said, you gotta stay with it, stick with it, stay with it, stick with it until you see what you desire. And I'm telling you, he's a great motivator to me. And the one thing I regret was not telling him when I thought about him and think he wouldn't join it. So do not make that same mistake that I made.
That's right. That's right. You never know. And you know, so yeah, and for me, yeah.
I appreciate you so much, because it was when I asked you to do it for me this morning, last night.
Yeah, last night.
Last night. And he said, what time? And I told him the time, and he said, well, you got it. So here we are. I appreciate you, Gary, very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Yes, and you know, we are in a where, you know, you gotta, you know, we care about each other. We care about each other's success. We want people not to struggle. We want people to have great success. We want them to have the greatest advantages with the most efficient, I call it the most efficient, stress-free model. And Cryptex fits these protocols. And so it's exciting that no matter what projects we're doing, Cryptex can avoid and still fit into a crazy busy schedule, because there's so little work to do. It's just a decision of putting that $100 to work as an application fee and letting it take its course. And then each of you get to decide, you know, do I want more contracts? Remember, you get to decide, do I want 30,000 working for me on the blockchain, or do I want up to $3 million working for me? And you can take that journey to move and add more to your account over and over and over. And you know, $100 contract here. We have some folks, they'll buy one every week, some every month. Some will buy as fast, as often as they can until they got their 80 contracts, like our Sharons and Franks and guys online here that are taking advantage of it. Why? Because you get to a point, we had a got paid on a year contract, and you know what? He owned one contract. And when it got to the end of years, he gets paid, you get paid, you're like, oh my gosh, why was I so stupid? You know, because you lived in fear at that moment. You were take a risk or take a chance, and he could have, during that 3 years, it with another 100 or 200 or 300, maybe 500, maybe 1,000. And but now he's starting from again. Takes that money, can buy now 80 contracts, but all his regretfulness was because he didn't trust. And there's lots of people in that category. You just have to sometimes take the risk where it's in your favor. And when you got something like this with so much validation, verification, and transparency, yes, the bank is private. Yes, the insurance is private, but that's necessary to help you be successful, because show you the companies that are transparent, they typically can run into problems, regulatory problems, issues, challenges, and you've all seen it. So this is a good thing for us, and it's private and anonymous, and it's good for you too. So, but with that, does anyone have any questions? And maybe someone's got a good question. And if some of you guys have got experience on here, maybe you got a question that would be helpful that you've been asked that would be good for people to hear, either on this presentation and recording for others. Frank, what's the most advanced question that you hear all the time? Or Francine or Sharon, anybody that's got a question. And if you're someone that's been asked a question, ask that question so we can give an answer for it.
Hey, Gary, this is Terry. I have a question.
Hey, Terry. Hey, welcome, Terry.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Quick question. I may ask just two questions. The most common question people ask me, how we gonna get paid since Bitcoin now is, has reached over $100,000 Bitcoin. Now, can
Yes.
people's gonna get paid the value of 35,000 in Bitcoin, or they're gonna get $35,000 based on the value of the Bitcoin at the day of the payment? That's question number one. Question number two, and it will be my last one. Question number two would be like, people don't understand. Since you say that, I mean, uh, they cannot change, cannot be manipulated and everything. But who's deciding sometime to add more contrast, sometime to add, because we started it from 55 to 80. I mean, now who's making that decision to change the algorithm of this
So yeah,
programming? Thank you, sir.
so you have to understand. So first of all, your question that begins with Bitcoin into decimal points. One full Bitcoin, 0.5 Bitcoin, 0.25 for a quarter Bitcoin. So whatever the price of Bitcoin is, if Bitcoin was, let's just call it, let's just say as an example, if Bitcoin was 35,000, you would end up with one Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is $105,000, you're going to get 1/3 of a Bitcoin. Does that make sense? So whatever the price of Bitcoin is going to determine the decimal point that equals 35,000. So if at the time a decimal point for 35,000 is 0.1, then you're going to get 0.1 Bitcoin because it's worth 35,000. If Bitcoin is worth 35,000, you're going to get one full Bitcoin. So it could be 1/10, it could be a half a Bitcoin, it could be it's all relevant on the price. If Bitcoin is $1 million, well, then it's going to be 0.0 something after that. Does that make sense? But the value will be worth 35,000 at that time of your payment. Okay. Number two is when your question is when you look at the company from a standpoint, someone had to come up with this. Someone who are ahead of this community, but private. For example, do you know who the owner and the creator of Bitcoin is? The answer is no.
No,
You
we don't.
only know a name. The second question, do you know the name of the people that own the Federal Reserve? No. Now, take those two things. Know what the owner of Bitcoin was, and Bitcoin has lasted the time and the test of even being crucified as rat poison, as being a scam. And it has stood the weather of all that gossip of being a scam, no good. And here we are today with a coin over $100,000 that started under a penny. It withstood the time. Can you imagine if the owner of Bitcoin was known, what the regulators would have done to him? What do you think? They probably would have called him a con man, probably would have crucified him and put him in prison for the rest of his life, because he came up with a technology so advanced to eliminate poverty, to create banking system that would make them look obsolete. And that's what it did. And so he's alive today because he's private and anonymous. The Federal Reserve, they're well and alive, issuing trillions of dollars in printed money. And the reason why is no one knows who they are. Does that make sense? You take this project 8 years later, remaining anonymous and private. And here we are changing regular people's lives because we're private and anonymous. And so you see the power of that. And you put the puzzle together in our world, in our economy, there is value in privacy. Matter of fact, read your dollar bill. It tells you that it's public, it's legal for public and private. It gives you an idea that there are legal parameters around public and private, and also options of being private or public. Hopefully that answers your question.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Gary, for your leadership.
You're welcome.
Hello, Gary. This is JR here from Vegas.
Yes. Welcome, JR.
Yeah, I may have just probably two questions too. My first one is just clarification about family member. You said
Sure.
if you line them up, you may be disqualified. So I want to understand that. So let's say I have my wife and I want to refer my wife and she want to start her own, on the contract. So
yes,
is that okay?
You can do that.
Okay?
Yeah. I'll give you an example of how I did it. When I shared it with, she goes direct to my When I share it with my daughter, she goes direct to link. When I share it with my son, goes direct to my link. When I share it with my sister, direct to my link, etc. So now if your wife comes in and she wants to bring in her best friend, no problem. She signs her up direct to her link. Just don't take your stack your son, put your daughter under the son, and then the baby under the daughter.
Oh, okay.
You make sense?
Okay.
So you just don't want to stack it in one straight line. It needs to
Oh,
go across the front line in a wide position so that you're personally referring them instead of a stacked position. I mean, it's really easy not to do. Plenty of money to be made for everybody, but you can bring your wife in and actually build a network for your wife too. But I would put a priority on making sure it's not necessarily to build on your wife until you've built at least 100 across on your own front line.
okay. Okay. This is my second question. So let's say you got like you got the contract for 3 years, 5 years, and 7 years.
Yes.
So in the end, for those contract years, can you start a new one after they close those 3 years?
Yeah, absolutely. You're gonna most likely. I want you to think about this. Say you bring someone in, or yourself. You buy a contract, and then hopefully you engage yourself enough that you decide to get closer to the 80 contracts. But if it's someone that is network that only bought one contract, almost be assured that when they're paid their 35, they're probably gonna buy their 80 contracts with that new money they just got, earned, So at that time you will buy all the contracts at that time, and whatever does expire, you can replace them at that time with that amount of again. So if you had contracts expire, you're going to be able to immediately buy 15 more contracts right there on the spot.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
That's why we call it up here the legacy wealth solution. It keeps on going. Yes. And what I'm showing you guys is a marketing site for those that are affiliates that want to share this. And here we have an intro video. We have a get started button. And when this gets clicked here, it'll have your ID embedded in it. And then on top of that, you take this password over here, you put it in the box you copy it, you put it in the box over here, and you hit submit, and it'll open up to play the presentation here. And you just click the play here as well. Okay. The other side is down here for those of you that want to see additional proof for the first time. And this is actually a video of a person getting paid $400,000 on their withdrawal. And we did put this in the presentation on the PowerPoint, but here you get to see the actual video of the transaction as well. Again, down here, we show you a little video on some research, people going back through some wallets. There's hundreds of other examples, but this is examples that are in place. And then down here is a tutorial getting started when people go to register, etc. So this one page is the page that most of us use to share it with our colleagues, friends, and family so they can see the intro. They can see a full 30-minute presentation. They can see an example of real proof for the skeptics out there. And they can see the blockchain transparency. Plus, we give you the wallet addresses. You can go research it for yourself. You see? And that's what makes this project so amazing, not to mention the longevity and the history in place gives us the clue and more proof that, hey, our odds for success in 3 years is going to still be here for us too. Okay? So, all right. Any other questions? All right. Well, then I want to just thank you.
I have one question, if I could.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah. What about the KYC? When do they do that, and what's the process?
There is no need for KYC. They're not going to ask you for KYC. And there might be some information where on one site they might say they might ask for it, but honestly, they don't ask for it. Never have asked for it at the moment. Again, it's a DeFi project, and it's not necessary under a DeFi project. So just hold on to your information.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for showing up here. I would just, guys, just get back to the person who invited you, answer their questions, or get with someone that's helped you, and they can help you answer their questions together. So, but with that being said, I want to thank you all for being here. And again, also for those of you, we also have our Telegram channel. So if you're not in our Telegram channel, we have one here called Cryptex-Freedom Team Global. And you get with the person to be able to add you. It's a private a channel, of course, and also want folks to actually be contract holders, meaning that only add folks that have actually purchased a contract. Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for being here and have a great, wonderful night.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gary.